Hey guys, Liz Stapleton from elizabethstapleton.com, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how to set and negotiate freelance rates, especially if you're a new freelancer. So one of the trickiest parts of being a freelancer, and in particular freelance writer, is pricing out your services, because everyone seems to underestimate the value of their service because they're just hoping to get hired. Like, I've seen that time and again. But it's important that you feel confident when you set and negotiate your rates. Okay, so we're going to talk about it in this video. And if you find this video useful, please take a second to like and subscribe. It really helps me in growing this channel. Okay, so please remember that as a freelancer, you are providing a service, okay? You're providing value in the content you write. We're going to just talk about freelance writers as an example. And you're saving money for the client by being a freelancer because they aren't having to pay taxes, benefits, or for work equipment, like if they had to pay for those things if you were an employee. And additionally, as a freelancer, you are responsible for those things. You have to pay for taxes, chances are you have to pay for your insurance, and to keep up your computer. So you need to remember to price your services accordingly. Don't undersell yourself just because you're new at freelance writing, okay? Even if you're new, it doesn't mean you should work for peanuts or for free. I know sometimes it can be easier to build your portfolio by guest posting or writing for sites like Huffington Post that don't pay you. However, once you have a portfolio, stop working for free. Like, exposure does not pay your bills. If you're a native English speaker and have any experience writing, then you have the skills necessary to successfully freelance write. Let's face it, most office jobs require writing in some form. So chances are you have writing experience, or guaranteed you've taken writing courses like in high school or college. It's not to say that everyone's a good writer, and when you're new, you'll still have a lot to learn. However, if you enjoy writing and can demonstrate that you are capable, you should be working for real money. Like, don't accept pennies. So how do you actually come up with your rates? I'll be honest, when I was freelance writing, I actually had a range of rates that I was willing to work within, and I would pitch different rates for different clients. The rate I pitched depended on the type of work. It also depended on the length of the articles, the budget of the client, and how much I would actually enjoy the work. For example, if the work was on a topic that I knew really well and could do really quickly, I would maybe work for a little bit lower rate because it wasn't going to take me as long, and so my hourly rate probably still stayed the same. Additionally, when I propose a rate, I build in room to negotiate. So I know the absolute bare minimum I'm willing to work for, and I won't go lower than that. However, the first rate I propose is usually 15%, if not close to double what that bare minimum is. So just keep in mind, you're not going to get the rate you want unless you ask for it, okay? When you're negotiating, you have to explain why you're worth that rate. Sometimes the client just doesn't have the budget, in which case, move on, find a different client. However, if they seem easy to work with and it's work you enjoy and can do quickly, I don't mind lowering my rate slightly. I mean, not below my bare minimum, not drop below that, but kind of the lower end of the range, just because I know my hourly rate's still going to be high because of how quickly I can do the work. Okay. And keep in mind, when you're negotiating, it's supposed to be a dance, and it's supposed to have two winners. Okay. Negotiating isn't about one side getting everything and the other side not getting anything. Okay. This is something I learned when I worked in sales. In a successful negotiation, both parties walk away happy. Okay. So I'll give you an example. So I recently had a client that asked me if I'd be willing to move from a per word rate to a flat rate. And not only a flat rate, but a lower rate than I was currently earning as their budget had changed. Since they were actually paying me more than most of my other clients, I was like, okay, sure, but I required that we add a late payment fee into the contract because I had on more than one occasion been paid late by this client, and I was tired of it. So I was like, if you're going to pay me late, you need to pay a fee. So remember that there are other things that you can negotiate beyond just your rate in order to reach a sort of agreement that both sides are happy with. So communicate clearly, but don't show your entire hand. Know in your head what the lowest rate you're willing to accept is, and be willing to walk away if they won't meet it. And that's the hardest part, right? Being willing to walk away. But here's the thing. If you were to take on that client that went below your lowest rate, you'd probably resent the work. And then you'd be so busy with that work that you would probably you wouldn't have the time to pursue better clients, and you'd probably end up missing a better client. So be willing to walk away if they won't agree to that bare minimum. Additionally, when you're negotiating and setting everything up, don't sign a contract until you've read it carefully, okay? Pay close attention, particularly to any non-competition clauses. These may prevent you from working with other similar companies in that niche. So for example, when I worked as a freelance writer, I wrote in the personal finance space, and I had a company send me a contract that had a non-competition. I was like, I already write for other sites that are potentially competitors. Like, I'm a freelancer. You know, you either need to pay me a lot more money, or you need to take this out, or you need to make exceptions for it. And so that's what we did. You know, they were like, oh, you know, it was just like a standard contract. Like, they didn't even realize it was in there. But I don't want them suing me because I'm working for competitors. You know, like, I was a freelancer. So make sure you read the contract carefully and understand what you're signing. So the bottom line, the bare minimum for freelancing varies by the type of work. As a freelance writer myself, I don't think any freelance writer should work for less than an average of 10 cents per word. Ideally, everyone would be earning more, because you got to remember that rising tides raise all ships. And so when you're going in there and trying to set and negotiate your rates, just remember, don't undersell yourself, because there's other things that you have to pay for. They're not paying for, because they're hiring a freelance writer. And remember, you want both sides to be happy, and negotiate with things that would make you happy. And hopefully that helped you kind of understand how to set and negotiate your rates as a freelancer.